Hey guys, welcome to Target 2D. Our target is complete the square in a quadratic expression to reveal the maximum or minimum value of the function it defines, and interpret those in context. For our mastery learning objective, I can solve quadratic equations by taking the square root. So the important parts of this is we're still solving, but this time instead of factoring, we're going to take the square root. So, looking at some of our vocabulary, our two main vocabulary words are perfect square trinomial and completing the square. Okay. So looking first at a perfect square trinomial is a trinomial, 3 terms, that is of the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Like that. Sorry, plus, not equals. And that is equal to, if I were to factor that, a plus b squared. Again, starting at a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, if I factor it, I get to a plus b squared. Starting at a plus b squared, if I multiply those, I get to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So it's just going both directions. Completing the square, we are finding the value of c. And that would make a trinomial a perfect square trinomial. So it's just finding that c value. So let's look at some examples. So it says find the value of c that completes the square. So what we are going to do for number 1, x squared plus 16x plus c. Just like factoring and multiplying, I'm going to start by making my box. Then x squared goes in that first box, right? Remember, x squared is x times x. And then in my other 2 boxes, I have this 16x. This is a square. Remember, the important thing about the square is the sides are the same. So I need to take 16x and then put the same thing in both of the boxes. So I'm going to divide 16 by 2, okay? And then that's 8x and 8x. And so I get x plus 8 and x plus 8 in my multiplication there. Okay? This makes it a square because the sides are the same. Then all I need to do is fill in my last box. 8 times 8, right, we're back to multiplying, is 64. And that is C. All right, looking at number 2, same type of thing. I am going to start by making my box. I have x squared minus 16x plus c. X squared goes here, x times x. I'm going to take negative 16 and divide by 2. The negative is important. So I get negative 8 and negative 8x. Then x times negative 8 will give me negative 8x. X times negative 8 will give me negative 8x. Negative 8 times negative 8, a negative times a negative is a positive 64. That is my C value. These two are the same, even though there was negatives, okay? But you still need to have the negatives in there. All right, looking at number 3, x squared plus 6x plus c. Make the box. In the first box goes the x squared. X squared is x times x. In my next two boxes, I'm going to divide 6x by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3x. X times positive 3 is 3x. X times positive 3 is 3x. And then 3 times 3 is 9. And that's my value of c. Looking at number 4, x squared plus 10x plus c equals negative 5 plus c. Just because it's equal to something doesn't matter for the problem. I am still going to start by making my box and doing exactly the same thing. Okay, so that negative 5 plus c isn't affecting what c is going to be. So we'll start with the x squared. X squared is x times x. We're going to take 10x and divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5x, and 5x. X times positive 5, x times positive 5, and then 5 times 5 is 25. And that's my value of c. Looking at the next one, again, start by drawing my box. X squared goes in the first box. Next box, I'm going to divide negative 2 by 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1x and negative 1x. Sorry, I forgot to write my x's here. X times negative 1 is negative 1x, right, on both sides. Then negative 1 divided by negative 1 is just positive 1. That is my c. Okay. Looking at number 6, same thing. I'm going to start by drawing my box. Okay. Again, as I draw my box, in the first box is going to go x squared. X squared is x times x. In my next boxes, I'm going to divide 12 by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so I get 6x and 6x. X times positive 6, x times positive 6 is 6x. 6 times 6 is 36. So 36 is my c value. Alright, so that is it for taking the square root. The next thing we're going to look at is solving by square roots. So number 1, x squared equals 36. Before we can do this problem, though, there is an important part there's an important thing we need to remember whenever we take a square root. Whenever you take a square root, I'm going to abbreviate square, you need to have a positive and a negative sign in. And that's what that symbol is. It's a positive and negative, or plus and minus. So it's just an addition sign and a subtraction sign stacked on top of each other. Okay? So whenever you take a square root, we're going to put that symbol out in front. Looking at number 1, the first thing I'm going to do is take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 36 is 6. You can always use a calculator to help you out. But then I need to put that positive negative sign in front of the 6. So x equals positive negative 6. Looking at number 2, x squared equals 49. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 49 is 7, positive negative. So x equals positive negative 7. Looking at the next page, okay. Looking at this number 3, I have x plus 3 squared equals 1. Still going to start by taking the square root, okay? The square root and the squared cancel each other out. That's the 2. Okay. I'm left with x plus 3 equals, the square root of 1 is simply 1, positive, negative. Now I'm just solving for x. So we're back into what we do when we solve. Remember, we always do the opposite. I'm adding 3. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Minus 3, minus 3. So x equals negative 3 plus or minus 1. Right? I actually have to do both operations. So x equals negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Oops, sorry guys. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. So I have 2 answers still. Number 4, same thing. X minus 8 squared equals 16. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of x minus 8 squared is x minus 8. The square root of 16 is 4, but I need that positive and negative sign. Then, doing the opposite to solve for x, 8 is being subtracted, so I'm going to add 8. So x equals 8 plus or minus 4. So x equals 8 plus 4 is 12. 8 minus 4 is 4. So x equals 12 and 4. All right, looking at number 5, 2x plus 10 squared equals 25. I'm going to, again, start by taking the square root. 2x plus 10 equals, the square root of 25 is 5. Again, I need my plus or minus sign. Again, solving for x, I'm going to start by doing the opposite. The opposite of adding 10 is subtracting 10. 2x equals negative 10 plus or minus 5. So 2x equals negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. Negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15. Now I still need to solve for x. So I'm going to divide by 2. And I'm going to divide both my answers on the other side by 2 as well. X equals negative 5 divided by 2 is negative 5 halves. Negative 15 divided by 2 is negative 15 halves. Looking at number 6, 3x minus 4 squared equals 100. I'm going to start again by taking the square root. The square root of 3x minus 4 squared is just 3x minus 4. The square root of 100 is 10 plus or minus. Again, always start by doing the opposite. 4 is being subtracted, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. 3x equals 4 plus or minus 10. Okay. So 3x equals 4 plus 10 is 14. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. Then I need to divide everything by 3, again, getting x by itself. So x equals 14 divided by 3 is 14 thirds, and negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. And that is my answer. That is it. By solving, by taking the square root, go ahead and work on to D.1.